Welcome to Mindful Mondays with Carrie. Thanks for joining once again. I'm still nervous and I'm glad you're joining for this second episode of Mindful Mondays. So today we're going to talk about Gestalt therapy, specifically the awareness and contact cycle. The ABCs of Gestalt are awareness, breath. We talked a little bit about breath the last time, and contact, making contact with what it is we need and want. So to go over the awareness and contact cycle, it's a cycle of organismic self-regulation. The more we're able to be connected with ourselves and our wants and needs, the more we can intentionally move and express ourselves in the world to make contact with those needs and wants. And the more we're able to do that, the healthier we are. So that's the awareness and contact cycle. It begins with the figure. So this is the sensory stimulation, and it can be internal or external. So let me think of an example. Might be thirst. The figure. I might notice that there's a dry feeling in my mouth. Maybe there's some tension in my throat. That would be more of an internal situation coming to my awareness. And I might even check in with how that's feeling with me. It could be, say, a physical need for water, but perhaps those sensations might also indicate that I'm anxious. So really checking in, and that would be the next part of the awareness and contact cycle, the energetic formation, our feelings and sensations. And then we're able to get to what it is we're wanting or needing. So checking in, seeing, is this a thirst? Is this, maybe I'm anxious? Right now I'm both. So getting in touch that I have that want or need for water, as well as perhaps something to calm the anxiety, perhaps a breath. So then what do? So I have this need for water. How do I get it met? And that's the next phase in the awareness and contact cycle. How do we move and express ourselves with the world to get my need met? So I might just pause right now and take a breath. Really just noticing and being with the sensations in my throat and in my mouth. The part that's coming to my awareness is that need just to slow down and connect with my body. I think I was in my nervousness getting out of my body. So that's the need that came up first for me. So really moving myself by slowing down and just taking a couple breaths. And I noticed the sensation in my throat is shifting as I do that. So really, that's the next part of the awareness and contact cycle, is the receptivity. How am I receiving? How am I taking it in? So I'm really trusting myself right now and slowing down, just taking some breaths. I'm laughing because I'm also aware of other thoughts going on, like the silence, and is that okay? And then just bringing myself back to just receiving this breath and coming back into my body. But I am aware of the next kind of figure coming up. which I think is that anxiety kind of taking me away back into my head instead of in this breath and in this body. Yeah. And really checking in with myself. How much am I receiving this? Right? And I don't think I'm done receiving it. So even though there's something else coming to the figure, I want to keep with receiving this breath and this moment to connect with my body. Yeah. Now I feel like I'm coming to a closure of receiving what I need from that moment. And the closure is also important. It's kind of like the period on a sentence. And it can be just a second, like just a breath, when we're like, okay, that was good. Now what's next? And that's the openness, the next part of the awareness and contact cycle. And then the next figure comes in. So again, it's the figure of the foreground. Now the thirst is coming up. Feeling that energetic formation that was linked to the throat earlier, but now the throat's shifted. I think that was more of the anxiety, and now there's the dryness in my mouth that I'm aware of and wanting to hydrate. So that's my want and need. And how am I going to move or express? So I could also ask somebody to grab me a glass of water, or I could just reach over and get the water that I placed there based on my anticipated need for the water. And then the receptivity, I can take it in. And then there's closure, the period on the sentence, and then coming to the next figure in the foreground. So let's see, a couple things we can, we're doing this thousands of times, probably even more than that a day. It's constantly happening. And again, they could be internal things. It could be external things that come into our awareness. There's the way that we can support ourselves in getting our needs met, our self-support. That's extremely important. We're with us all the time. My mentor, Mariah, who taught me Gestalt therapy at Pennsylvania Gestalt Center, she would say, if there was a little Mariah on your shoulder and heard how you talk to yourself all day, would I have a good day? So that's, I think, a really good question to ask yourself. And I think the more we're able to make contact and receive what it is we want and need in this world, my experience is that I start to have a good day if I'm listening to myself all day, or if somebody else would be listening to me all day. So let's see, where are some stuck places? One is before we figure out our wants and needs. So at the very beginning, we might detach from our bodies. A lot of us learn not to trust our bodies due to different traumas that we may have grown up with, or just not feeling comfortable in our bodies, body shaming. All kinds of things can take us out of our body. We may have learned to really value the intellect and not have a balance of the body and the mind. There could be lots of reasons that we might not be in our body to notice the energetic formation and how, what our sensations are. So just looking at that. Let's see, there's also times in our lives growing up where we weren't able to get our wants and needs met, because we're born able to do this. We're very much aware of what our wants and needs are when we're coming into this world. We're crying, and hopefully our parental figures, our caregivers, our finding our language and how to get our wants, figuring out what the infant's wants and needs are and getting those met. And then sometimes as we're maturing, we become more and more able to get some of our own wants and needs met. And hopefully that's encouraged in a healthy family, where each individual's wants and needs are really explored and honored, and as well as the family as a whole. So if our wants and needs aren't being met, we find ways to survive. And these are creative adaptations in Gestalt therapy. That's a way we creatively adapt to our environment, and so our needs can be met. And sometimes we're not even aware that we're doing this. We just figure out a way to get what we need, even if it's not the most direct way. So, for example, I learned in my childhood that it wasn't safe to have wants and needs. I think it was that I learned to take care of other people's wants and needs, and that created some safety. So yeah, in my healing journey, it's about getting in touch with my body and what my wants and needs are. There can be lots of things that can get in the way of noticing what our wants and needs are. It could be that I don't deserve, I'm not worthy enough, I haven't earned it, I'm too needy, it's a sign of weakness, right? There's the list, I'm sure, goes on and on and on about why it's not okay to have wants and needs. So we might move and express in a way to get these wants and needs met. We may have adapted creatively by passively asking for something, perhaps asking somebody, do you want to have lunch? Instead of saying, I want to have lunch. Or, that's a silly example, but we'll get into how language really is part of moving and expressing to get our needs met. There's something called the language of responsibility, which we'll get to at another time, but the way we talk is part of this too. How do we communicate our wants and needs? And again, these things we may have picked up about our these beliefs about ourselves or the world or people can sometimes get in the way of how we want to do it now. These were creative adaptations that we learned and we continue with. And then as we grow and our environment changes, now I'm an adult, and at some point the way I've been doing it doesn't work anymore. Realizing that I might be creating a lot of what I don't want in my life, or seeing certain patterns that keep coming up, and really being able to slow down and intentionally connect with my body and what it is I want and need, to be able to then move into the world to get those needs met clearly and directly, and supporting myself in getting my needs met and creating the environment that I thrive in. So noticing where those interruptions are can give us a lot of information about the healing that we might need. So we can create moments of healing, so that we can complete that Gestalt, complete that awareness and contact cycle. And sometimes things that get really stuck in there, we might need to create moments of healing multiple times to complete that Gestalt so that we have a new way of understanding ourselves and the world. You know, the more I learn to support myself, the more I'm able to trust myself to show up and get my needs and wants met. And then the easier it is to slow down and identify those wants and needs. And bringing intention to receiving. That's another place we can get tripped up. How many people like really stink at receiving compliments? I know I have been one of those people, and sometimes still, especially people around me might catch it if they say something and they see me skipping over it and they really want me to receive it. They might slow me down. Hey, did you hear what I just said? And I know what helps me receive is really like slowing down. Yeah, getting out of that head and into my body, which for me, eye contact and a deep breath really helps me take it in. But you know, we could be walking outside on a gorgeous day like it is today and not even notice the birds singing or the sun on our skin and that warmth, you know, because we might be, I don't know, thinking about what it is that we have to be doing or what we're not getting done or you name it, not receiving what's around us. Or you could really be mindful and slow down and notice the birds and the sun, the way the leaves are blowing in the breeze, or the branches if it's winter like it is now, or you know, seeing the dogs as people are walking dogs, or whatever there is to really take in. You know, we can create a different experience in the simplest things if we're willing to receive it. Yeah, even the way we eat our food, you know, are we slowing down and really chewing on what's in front of us and tasting it and savoring it, like the receiving of the nourishment, the savoring the different flavors, you know? You could eat a whole plate of food and not even taste it, or yeah, take it in. So, yeah, I think that covers the awareness and contact cycle for now. I'm sure more will come up and I'll think of things later. Figures will come up about, oh, I could have added this. And if enough of those come up, maybe I'll do another episode on this. A teachable takeaway. I'm thinking along the lines of a journaling experience of either writing it or like an audio journal. Sometimes I like just doing a voice memo, however you like to do it, is to write about what did you learn about your wants and needs growing up, whether it be from your caregivers, your family, perhaps a religious community, spiritual community, school. What did you learn, society as a whole, about wants and needs? Are you allowed to have them? Yeah, recognize what there is for you about what's wants and needs. And perhaps take a mindful walk. Doing one as you're distracted about all the things that you could be distracted about, fun things or anxiety things or whatever it is. And then take one and really look at what you can receive from just being present. Yeah. And I hope this was informative and helpful, and that you're taking something away from this. And yeah, I guess that's signing off for Mindful Mondays. Thanks so much.